to the Be Fearless podcast. Today, we have a recognized financial educator, author, speaker, and retirement specialist. He's the founder and president of the Superior Mutual Incorporated, where he and his team helps family preserve, protect, and pass on their legacy. So let's welcome today to All Kushner. Welcome, all.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. That is nice to know.
Thank you for your time and for being here today. I know there might be a lot of people out there that doesn't know who is All Kushner. So tell us about you, who you are, where you're from.
All right. Well, I'm originally from New York City, and I've been, I guess, in the insurance industry since 1986. I just recently wrote a book called The Savvy Guide to Buying Burial Insurance. And I wrote the book, I guess, during last year, during the pandemic, because I had plenty of time on my hands, like most people probably did, and took the opportunity to begin writing. And I think that was a good thing because of what's going on with the pandemic. A lot of people are kind of realizing their own mortality. And they probably have their friends and family and maybe fall victim to, the pandemic, and realizing that they are not really covered for the unexpected. And that's something that could be a shock, especially when you're looking at the average funeral homes costing anywhere from $15,000 to $25,000. That's a sticker shock when you probably don't need it the most. And many people are unprepared for that. So that's why I wrote the book, to help educate and inform so they could protect themselves in the case something does happen. And as you can see, with COVID, it could strike at any age. So it really doesn't matter. It's just a matter of being prepared for the unexpected. And hopefully the book will let people know that there are options, and maybe they can explore that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So you being in the industry of insurance for a while, I mean, I will say like over 30 years, but from so many insurances that they are, why you choose the topic of death for your book?
Well, the fact is that it's a very specialized type of insurance. I mean, it's designed for taking care of one's final expense, and that usually is something that happens a lot of times when you're older and people have health ailments and they want to get coverage to pay for funeral expenses and arrangements, and they can't get covered because, well, they may not qualify health-wise, and or the existing insurance they have expired, which a lot of term insurance is at age 70. So this is something that addresses those issues and give people the ability to learn about what ways they can still be covered and not have their debt leave behind to their loved ones when the time comes. So that's really what it really addresses, those issues on that. So, yeah.
Okay. I have to say, because I read your book, and I think that is packed with a lot of important information. And definitely death is a topic that we don't like to talk about. But it's so important to talk about and prepare for, especially as an entrepreneur. So from this entrepreneurial standpoint, why is it important to plan for death?
Very simple, because the fact is that if something happened to you suddenly, what do you do at that point? I mean, you have an exit strategy. And a lot of entrepreneurs may not include death as an exit strategy, or disability for that matter. And those things are vital in terms of, securing, your intentions, because a lot of times entrepreneurs are just thinking about growth. They're thinking about, sales, and they don't think about, worst case scenarios. Okay. And if they have a family that depends on them, well, that could be very traumatic. Particularly if their family depends on their income to survive. So they really need to be prepared for that. And a lot of them don't really look at that as an example. And in particular, they may just think they're in a state of mind that they're invincible and nothing's going to happen to them. But if the pandemic doesn't show you what's going on, that's pretty much what's happening. It's going to hit you at any age, and you have to really, take the steps to ensure that your legacy will be, remembered. And that's really what this book addresses. It goes beyond entrepreneurship. It's just a matter of, I would say, estate planning for that matter. Planning, what to do in the event, and that's really important to really get your affairs in order. And that means updating your will, having a power of attorney. And if you're in a situation where, maybe you are, whether it's a car accident, you need to let the people know what your intentions are. There are many famous cases where, for example, the state of Florida, where a person would be in a state like, I think Karen Quinlan had back years ago, where she was in a hospital and basically in a vegetative state, and she didn't have a durable power of attorney. And what happened was is that the state was paying for the cost of the keeping this person alive. And you really need to address that issue because, do you want to be kept alive when the fact is you may not be able to function at all afterwards? So those are things that a lot of entrepreneurs kind of really don't take into consideration, whether it's an accident, whether it's death or disability, they need to really have a plan B. And this book really talks about what to do, how to go about getting it, and how to save by comparing what's out there, and as a independent agency, we have over 20 different carriers that we work with, and we shop based on the person's age and particularly their health conditions. Because a lot of entrepreneurs may have existing or pre-existing health conditions, and that could be a lot of things. It could be things from diabetes, COPD, or long-term COVID, which has really become very much a condition that a lot of doctors are perplexed. They don't know how to treat it and whether or not there is anything that would help to them recover. So these are things that, the book really talks about, is really just about getting your affairs in order. Entrepreneurs should be aware that this is, part of the strategy of having an exit strategy. That's pretty much what it is.
Yeah. You already have given us some steps to prepare to protect this legacy and to leave, to have that exit strategy, as you call it. And you mentioned having power of attorney among them, but what other steps an entrepreneur or any individual can take to prepare to leave this legacy to our loved ones or our teams?
Well, obviously, having a life insurance policy put in place will help to ensure that if something does happen, that individual's family will be covered for whatever expenses that incur upon that individual's death. Also, they should have a disability policy as well to protect their income if they become disabled. A lot of times people don't look at that, and a lot of entrepreneurs don't even think, but when that does strike, how much does it affect their ability to work? If someone has a car accident and their back is out, that makes a big difference in the amount of hours they put in. If their entrepreneurs are working 60, 80 hours a week and all of a sudden they have to cut it down by half, how does it affect their income? So having a way to protect that income is key. And if it's a partnership, they should definitely have a buy-sell agreement and also buy-sell disability, which covers in the fact if a partner is disabled, they should have the ability to buy out that partner, and the partner would have a steady income for the rest of their life to cover for that aspect. So entrepreneurs really need to be made aware of these things. A lot of times it's having to speak with an attorney that could draft up these documents and have update their wills. That's important. These are just all the steps that are needed in order to be prepared for the
Mm-hmm.
unexpected.
Now, you mentioned life insurance. What types of life insurance are out there that can help entrepreneurs to protect their legacy?
Well, there are generally two types. One is a term insurance, which doesn't have any cash value, and it's affordable depending on one's age, and provides a high face amount. So those are usually used in, for example, protecting one's mortgage, or in a possibility of a partnership, protecting the partners as well. And then the other one is whole life, which has a cash value. The premium is higher, but what's good about it is that the premium always remains the same, unlike term insurance, which ends at a certain time period. Usually, every year the money goes, or the premium goes up each year, or maybe locked in for a period of 10, 20, 30 years, for example. And then at that point, that would increase. With permanent insurance. The premium remains the same for the life of the policy, and a lot of times builds up cash value. And there are situations where you can even have a paid up policy in 10 years and have that for the rest of your life. So those are pretty much the two options available that a lot of people choose from. And obviously qualifying, that's the big thing too, because not everybody is eligible for it. So they really need to do it, obviously, when they don't have any pre-existing conditions, and preferably at a young age, because you'll save a lot of money in the long run that way. So those would be the things that to look at. And we work with a lot of clients who are in situations where they may have pre-existing conditions, and we shop around to see which ones will make them offers based on their health, because a lot of times they'll get quotes online and they think the rate they're getting is for everyone, and a lot of times it's based on their health condition, and they may think certain things are not certainly a concern for the insurance companies, but they can be, and also the medications that they're taking. So these things we work on individually to design a plan that is affordable and works within a budget, and a company that will be interested in taking them on as a risk, because that's really what it boils down to.
Good information. Another question that I have, let's say, because you mentioned that getting this type of insurance policies or disability policies are important, or to get them like in an early age time frame, I'll say. But what about people that have never paid attention to this information, never have like even thought about planning for death, and they are maybe in their 45, 50 years old range? What will be a good approach for them to prepare and protect that legacy? What will be a good recommendation?
Recommendation is to get in touch with an agent, someone who is independent, and it can offer them multiple of carriers that can offer them the best options. That's generally what I suggest. Evaluate whatever, if they don't have any coverage whatsoever, look at what their budget is, and what their risks are that they have, if they should not be gone tomorrow, for example, or if they become disabled for a year, how long can their income last based on that? And at that point, they can have an idea exactly what to do next. But the fact of not doing anything is just really plain stupid, to be honest with you. And a lot of times, people don't really want to do that because they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to face their own mortality. They don't want to think. They think it's going to happen to somebody else, not to them. And the fact is, I've seen too many situations where it's not the case, and I've seen families devastated because the husband didn't carry any coverage, or the wife was, didn't have coverage, and the children suffer as well too. So you really need to get your act together, and especially in this day and age, it's very affordable. So there's no reason not to do it. It's just a matter of making the next step. And hopefully, the book will enlighten people and become, more educated and do that. It's just a matter of, doing what they have to protect the ones they love. That's really what it's all about.
Yes, indeed. It's all about protecting the ones that we love. Let me tell you one thing. I do appreciate all the information that you have brought us today. I encourage everybody to read your book because I read it, and it's, like I said, it's packed with information. Where can people contact you if they want an assessment or they want like hear more or get more details about these insurances and disability policies?
Yeah, well, they could certainly go to the website, savvyguide.tips. You can also call toll-free number 888-810-9725. That's 888-810-9725. And they'll be able to reach one of our representatives to discuss options that are of interest to them. And social media, Facebook, Twitter. So again, you can find it on the website directly. And happy to help if you have any questions, and hopefully help them make the right decision. That's really what it's all about.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you. I mean, you bring such a vast amount of experience. You've been how long? I'll say 30 years, but maybe you started in 1988, right? 1986.
86. Yeah, just out of college, you might say. So it was a different time period back then, back in the 80s, I think it was. So it's where there was no internet and a lot of information. Really, you had to go to the library to look at. So, but I think in this day and age, it's very convenient, especially nowadays, to get insurance. In fact, we insure people usually in less than 30 minutes or less. So that's great. You can actually have coverage the same day. So
Yeah.
things have changed since the time, and I think it's really become at a point where it's all about convenience. And in this day and age, people want to, not have to work with an agent that they have to meet personally with. A lot of times you can do this electronically, and we found a lot of success. And we work with a lot of people across the country. So really, it's just a matter of them, taking the next step and deciding what they need help in. So happy to help anyone who has an interest and hopefully learn.
Yes, I mean, you definitely have many years of experience in this field, so I'll call you an expert. You are an expert on this field. So there you have it, guys. All Kushner, author, speaker, and retirement specialist and financial educator. Don't forget to go and into Amazon and look forward for his book, which is amazing. Like I said, it's packed with information, and reach out to him in case that you needed to have a one-on-one conversation with Al Kushner. So thank you for listening today. Thank you, Al, for being here today with us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And don't forget, you guys, to subscribe to my channel, to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and also subscribe to the podcast on Spotify. So thank you once again for listening to this episode of the Be Fearless podcast. And until the next week, see you then. Have a good day and unlock your potential. Have a good one. Bye-bye.